All right, good morning. We're going to get started. All I'm doing is once a week going to address a pain point that somebody has mentioned that's in boot camp. This week, we're going to talk specifically about tactics to stay consistent with your business plan. And of course, today that we're recording it, it is September 30th. So we're a few months removed probably of when we sat down and did a business plan for 2025, but it's okay. I've got 8 tactics that I'm going to share that I think is very critical to help stay consistent with doing your business plan, staying on top of it, keeping it at a place where um, 30 days after you create it, you're not wondering where you put it. So I'm just going to start talking, and then at the very end, if we have time for a few questions, that's cool, but trying to keep this at about 15 minutes. So, tactic number one, keep the business plan current, meaning make adjustments whenever necessary. And if you can, compare it and think of almost like a football game. Okay, a football team when they prepare for the game, they've got a game plan for the game, but quite often after the first drive, after the first quarter, especially at halftime, the teams are making adjustments based on how the game is going. Could be you're making adjustments based on the score, how their opponent is reacting to things. We have to do the same thing. So I really believe that it's critical, and it's a segue into tactic number two. I think we need to set yearly goals, but our business plan and our marketing plan would be better served on a 90-day increment or scale rather than doing it for 360 days. All right. So, tactic number two, set yearly goals, write them down into 90-day goals with a 90-day business marketing plan. I think that's super important because things, just like if you remember the year that COVID came up, nobody would have planned in December for 2020 that we were going to have a major crisis like that. And, so we have to be constantly, I think, adapting to what's going on in the market, adapting to what's happening with interest rates, adapting to what's happening with inventory, adapting to maybe new products that we have available. So I think it's very important. One way to keep your plan consistent is making sure that you're working on it every 90 days. I do think you should be a month ahead of schedule. So, like for this last quarter of the year, I think setting some time, having some time set aside that in September, which day is the last day of the month, but setting some time aside to say, here's the goals I want to have for the next 3 months. And then you're making sure that you're staying consistent with doing those goals. So, number three, this might be the most important way to stay consistent. I think it's very, very important that you break your plan down into daily and weekly non negotiables. Okay. So, what does that look like? For example, for me, theme day for a Monday is doing status calls. Status calls should be a non negotiable in your business. Calling past clients on Thursdays, that should be a non negotiable. So, this is all part of your plan. I don't think a plan needs to be super complicated. It's really just doing a few things consistently every single week. Okay. So it's like having the same theme days every single week. Now, I do believe in a power hour, which we'll talk about in just a second, but you need to make sure if you need to move it, move it. It's just that it's going to get done. Status calls on Mondays are going to get done, whether it's 10 to 12 or whether it's 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. They have to be done before I go home. All right. Next, so this would be tactic number four. Does your calendar match your business plan, including your daily and weekly non negotiables? Kind of what I was just saying. Make sure that your calendar is a picture of what you want your plan to look like. So if you want to lose weight, but you don't have built into your calendar exercise, plan your grocery list, then you're probably going to have a hard time. Same thing with business. If you want to get 50 leads a month, but you're not doing prospecting every single day, it's going to be hard to get 50 leads a month. So you got to make sure your calendar matches what your plan looks like. Number six, number five, rather, stay accountable to somebody. This can be simple, and we make it available through boot camp, and that is send your weekly compass in to somebody, even if it's just sending it in to make sure it gets sent in, and it's on a checklist somewhere. You need to make sure that you're staying accountable on what your activities need to be. Number one, two, three, four, five. Number six, tie your plan to a why, meaning what will following the plan, what is that going to do for you? Now, it took me hitting rock bottom to really be consistent with a business plan. I hope nobody else has to go through hitting rock bottom before you decide you want to stay consistent with it. But once I understood that doing the same activities consistently, staying focused on the business plan, and after doing that for about 90 to 180 days, about 3 to 6 months, and I realized what that was going to do for my family and how that was going to change our finances and how that was going to allow us to give back and how that was going to allow us to get out of debt. When I started understanding that, I started making sure I was being consistent with the plan because I could see how this was going to change our life. Okay, so you got to make sure that your plan is tied to a bigger purpose than what simply your plan is. Next, I think this is so simple, but I think it's so huge, especially huge for me, and that is celebrate small milestones. So I think a lot of times we think you hear maybe people say, "Hey, we're going to set this goal, and at the end of it, we're going to have this big party or this big celebration." You can do that too, but I think sometimes we need to think in very much smaller increments. I heard a guy one time on stage, another lender, and he was talking about this very same thing about celebrating small milestones. And he was like, I've got certain things I want to get done in a day, and when I get those things done and I give it 100%, at the end of the day, I'm going to have a beer. Like, okay, like that doesn't really interest me a whole lot, but I decided I do like going to the cigar lounge most afternoons. My ticket to go to the cigar lounge is getting Power Hour done. I can't go until Power Hour is done. Okay, when Power Hour is done, I'm free to move my work somewhere else. So to me, that's celebrating a small milestone. Have a little something in your life. Maybe it's having a Coke or a Diet Coke, or maybe whatever you want to come up with. Something just small, like once I get to this, I'm going to enjoy this. All right. Maybe it's going outside and working, whatever it is. It doesn't need to be this huge party at the end, just celebrating the small little milestones. All right. And lastly, the last tactic to staying consistent with your business plan, build habits to support your plan. All right. So I'm super grateful for my morning routine. And my morning routine has got to the point where it happens, doesn't matter what day of the week it is, whether it's Monday or Saturday morning. It's very, very consistent, very dialed in. But that morning routine supports what I want to get done in the rest of my life. And again, to me, everything you can analyze everything with a game of football. I'm very whacked in the brain like this, but if you think about most football players, they perform on Sunday afternoon, but everything they do Monday through Saturday is about getting their body, their mind to a place where they can play at a very high level on Sunday, right? That's how they go from playing high school to college to NFL. Everything is about those few hours on Sunday afternoon. For us, while we're not throwing the football on Sunday afternoon, if we want to be high performers in the industry, if we want to crush power hours, if we want to crush conversion, if we want to hit all of our goals, so we're getting the big trip at the end of the year with our other peers in the industry, everything that we do needs to be tied to what that performance looks like. So for me, like that morning routine is getting my mind in a right place, starting the day off with gratitude, starting the day off with God, starting the day off praying, starting the day off rucking, which is walking with a weighted backpack with my dog. All those things help me get in a right frame of mind to go crush it at when the day begins. So that to me is a great morning routine. Yours can look like whatever you want it to look like. It just needs to support your plan. For me, I've been struggling sleeping at night. So I just tried a new supplement. It's actually working really, really well where it's allowing me to get to sleep at a reasonable hour and feel refreshed when I wake up in the morning. So I've been working on my evening routine. That's part of it as well too. But your habits need to support your plan. So I would suggest working on your morning evening routines, working on making sure your theme days stay very, very, very consistent, making sure your power hours get done. That's where I think having a little celebratory milestone, once it's done, I can go do this, something that you really like doing. Most of us don't get jazzed up by doing power hour, but I
Oh,
do
please
get
don't turn that off for
jazzed
just
up
a second. Thanks.
by
Um,
I do get jazzed up by knowing that I'm going to get to go to my favorite little place in downtown Roanoke to have a cigar. That helps me get that done. So again, it's just a little habit. Making sure your what is on the weekly compass, make the weekly compass things habits. And there are the weekly compass, if you've seen it, it does include morning, evening routines. It includes the thank you notes, which we've talked about recently, I think can be thank you videos. But make those things, those items in the weekly compass, just part of your daily habits. All of this is related to staying consistent with your business plan. Okay, so to me, let's take some time. If you've not done this already, sometime before the day is over, or maybe this evening, what do you want the fourth quarter to look like? And then in November, December, we will be talking about what are some goals we want to hit in 2026. But I think it's super important to keep that marketing business plan on a 90-day scale where we can scale it, we can adapt to what's happening in our market and go further. That's the way I believe like we can keep a business plan consistent rather than doing it in December and then forgetting where it's at by the end of January. Okay. I hope that helps you guys. If you have any other comments, questions on being consistent with a business plan, feel free to send me an email and just let me know. All right. Hope you guys have a great Tuesday.